Welcome to Gutter Talk, the show all about comics and graphic novels. I'm your host, Matt Mitchell. We're going to jump straight into the new comics of the month with the long-awaited, it seems, return of Dark Knights of Steel number 8. We were warned about war in issue number 7, and we see a lot of attempts at peace this issue, but they all fail, and in fact, things seem to escalate at the end of this issue. We're going to have to wait and see how that plays out, but I don't see how things can't get violent. It's going to be crazy in the next issue. I really enjoy this series. It's the best thing I've read all year and highly recommend it. Then I read DC vs. Vampires All Out War number 5, resurrecting the Weather Wizard with the last Lazarus Pit. Doesn't work out as planned. He kind of comes back a little mutated and mangled, so they have to put a stop to him immediately. And then there's a big battle between Mary and Shazam as he catches up to them. Overall, I thought this was a better issue, but still not amazing. Then over on the main series, we have DC vs. Vampires number 11. They've basically thrown everything at us at this point, or so I thought, because it's shown this issue that the vampires are working with aliens. They struck a special deal together. It's just totally random information that's like added in the second last issue. All of the teams that are attacking the vampires from different avenues are making progress, and it seems like they're closer than ever, and hopefully one of them succeeds in the last and final issue next month. Also, if you're a fan of Lobo, he appeared in this issue for the first time, which was really cool. Last from DC, we have Batman vs. Robin number 3, where Batman has to confront all of the Robins, both physically through combat and I suppose emotionally, as they air their grievances with him for, not being trained up well enough before just being thrown into battle, or not being cared for and given enough attention, or just being entirely replaced by another Robin. So if you like that relationship between Batman and his wards, this was a really good issue that dived into that between all of the different Robins. Meanwhile, Damian gets some information from a prisoner about Nezza's true motives and what he's doing, while at the same time this prisoner calls Damian's motives into question and asks what he's getting out of this. We'll have to see whether any of those words got through to Damian, or whether he's still fully under the control of Nezza and Mother Soul. Then over on Marvel, we had Deadpool number 1, a new Deadpool series with that typical witty remarks and breaking of the fourth wall, which in comic form comes in the form of red pen remarks, as if Deadpool is the editor of the comic. He's fighting this discount Poison Ivy, and it's not altogether that spectacular of an issue. I was wondering whether I really need to read another Deadpool series, but then it looks like we're gonna have Deadpool versus Carnage, so I'm in. Let's see where this one goes. Then I read Han Solo and Chewbacca number 7. Greedo thinks he's killed Han, and they dump him on a backwater planet that he then has to find his way off of. Meanwhile, Chewbacca and Maz Kanata are plotting a prison break. Lucky for them, Han gets off that planet just in time to help them escape. And first on their agenda is exact revenge on Greedo and get the Falcon back. Then I read another new Star Wars series, Yoda number 1. This alien species, the Scalvi, are on a planet Turak, and they're being raided by another group of aliens, and they put out a distress call that is heard by the Jedi Council, and Yoda decides to come to their rescue. After turning the tide and protecting them, he decides he needs to stay on this planet with them, presumably to train them up to be able to protect themselves. Now, I'm not quite sure whether I'm going to continue reading this series because I already have a Star Wars series that's connected to the original movies with Han and Chewbacca, and I think I might enjoy a different series set in a different time period or with wholly original characters. So if you like Star Wars comics, let me know what the best ones to read are in the comments. And the last issue I'm going to talk about this month is Golden Rage number 4, sorry. And Jay in the last issue was revealed to have sent these women to the island because they're no longer deemed valuable to society. And we find out this issue that she actually just worked in the department. How much she actually knew about what was happening to these women is up for debate. One side wants to kill her for this and finds her solely responsible. Others believe that she may have been brainwashed and not truly known what was happening to people. But they decide to resolve this issue with a random clown performance. It's totally out of left field, but it was very symbolic of the issue that this comic really gets into, that is fertility and whether women should define them by something that is out of their control. So this clown performance goes on with the egg, and we talk about how, some of the women had children and hated them. Some of them had children and missed them dearly. Others never wanted children and don't regret not having them, whereas others want children but can't have them. It's different for everyone. And this performance gets Jay really emotional. She breaks down and reveals some bad news about the island, so they all have to band together and plot an escape. I also read some other comics this month. That is the 3rd issue of Alien, Midnight Suns, Creepshow, and Stuff of Nightmares, which I was gonna stop reading, but it turns out there's only gonna be 4 issues, so I'll just finish that off. But if you want to talk about any of those, feel free to chat with me in the comments. Now, like and subscribe the video as you would always do, of course, but before you go, I just want to talk about this cool comics related thing I saw at a Pink Floyd exhibit. Back in the 70s, Pink Floyd released a program that was in comic form, and one of the cool things they had on display was the cover for that program, and it was really neat to see how they added the words in a second transparent layer over top of the illustrated comic cover, and some other bits such as the rainbow were also cut out second layers. That's all I have for you this month. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you around comic shops in December.